I have some poll topics that I
Okay.
posted that I wanted to run by you. I know you voted on these, but I don't remember what you voted, and you can't go back and see it.
Mhm.
Let's see, which one of these do I want to start with?
Honestly, some of them I may not have voted on because I didn't know where I stood. So,
Mm. I just screenshotted some of them from the back because the highlight is really long. So, let's start with the most recent one I posted. I was on TikTok, and I saw someone posting a TikTok about people you never knew were black. So I posted this poll, and it says, should someone who appears to be white but has a black parent be considered black? Basically, do you
someone
believe
who
in the idea of
appears,
white passing? So, like,
um, yes, specifically they are mixed, but at the same time, I think it honestly depends on where you're from. And in the US, obviously race plays such a huge factor, but like look at the example with Tyler, for example. She got so much heat for calling herself colored, but like that's what they do where she's from.
right?
I personally do believe in white passing. Like you're not gonna come up in here looking like, give me a white person looking like looking
Okay,
like Tom Brady
there you go.
and tell me that you are like that you're black. Um, that doesn't really mix. Like you are white. You may be mixed. You may have black in you, but like your race is white. And honestly, I think the conversation sometimes just is unnecessary. It's like if you're black, you're black. If you're not, you're not. If you're of African descent, cool, cool, cool. But a lot of it just depends on like
I think it really just hinges on the fact that people don't know the difference between race, ethnicity, and like nationality.
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk
Because
about
at
it.
the end of the
So
day, when it comes to race, right, like this is where I get so annoyed because people will be like, "Oh, I'm black," and then they'll have to show you a picture of their parent or grandparent. It's like, no, 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 you don't
you
understand
are not
race.
black.
Race, and like some people say, well, race is just a social construct. Yes, but the point is, the social construct is based on your phenotypical appearance.
Agreed.
It's not at all genetic. Race is not a genetic phenomenon. There's no you can't break someone down by genes. You have to see their outward appearance. So, how you look is your race. How people perceive you is your race. So if you move through the world and people perceive you as white, you're white. If you move through the world, people perceive you as black, you're black. Now, obviously,
There's some.
there's ambiguity. There are people who are in the middle, like I can't tell. All right, yes, but exceptions don't disprove the rule. So if you're somebody, so I remember somebody was like, be more specific, and I found I think 4 pictures. It was like Tori Kelly, Logic, Isaiah Hartenstein, who's in the NBA, and then I forgot who the it was like Sophia Richie, and they all just like look white to me at least. And I'm like, those people, they all have a black parent.
I think Sophia Richie, like she could tell me that she's black. And be like, oh. And I think honestly for her, I think it's her facial features. That kind of do it. Maybe I gotta look at another picture of her. But for me, it's like her facial
And she
features.
had a little nose bridge that I'm like, oh, okay, but like
Her lips are a little African.
but it's like if you were just walking down, you ain't know who she was. You just walking down the street. You ain't gonna think like, oh, that's a black person. Like it's just a white girl, walking around. And that to me is the point, right? Like that's all race is. Race that like that's not to discount your heritage. That's not to discount your culture. Because I think sometimes what'll happen is when you're having a conversation with somebody for whom this applies, where like they appear to be white.
You're right.
That's what I'm saying. I'll put it up in the, you know what I'm saying? I'll edit it in. We do have those abilities. But I think people will take that as you're trying to discount their heritage, discount their culture. And it's like, nah, like, you can't, like, because again, even black, when we say black, what does that mean? Because black could mean, like, African diaspora, or black could mean black American. There's a lot of definitions of black. It could refer to a race, it could refer to an ethnicity, a culture, all of these different things. But I think at the end of the day, racially, if you look white, you're white. That's me. Do you agree?
I agree, and I think echoing what you said, there are exceptions. There are exceptions, and honestly, just be who you are. You know, be who you are. Don't be who you're not. I think it comes into like it just becomes such a complex conversation because like you do have, for example, some Hispanics. Some of them might feel like they're in the middle because it's like some people may classify them as white, but they may not feel white, but they may feel black, and
What does
so
that mean? You wouldn't know, but aren't you as a Haitian technically Hispanic?
no, we're Latino.
My fault.
I wrote a whole paper about this in college. You were trying to tell me, "Oh yeah, you're not Latinx because you're Haitian." I'm
Also, I
like,
heard Spanish people do not like the. Sorry, I shouldn't call them Spanish. Latino people don't like the designation Latinx, but That's not
Really?
even there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why is
Yeah,
that?
I don't know. You would have to ask somebody who's like actually familiar with it. I think it just has to do with the way they genderize words, and it's like a gendered word doesn't necessarily isn't specific to a gender. So when you say
Mm.
Latinx, it's like nah, like you're using an English convention on like
On a
Spanish.
non-English.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So,
That's a
but
good point.
again, I can't. This is not my culture. I didn't study this or anything like that. So I don't want to speak for nobody. This is just what I've heard.
This is not my
Disclaimer.
culture. No,
Disclaimer.
that's a good point. I never really thought about that. That's a great point.
That's just what I heard.